How has it been for you so far diving into Colquitt County football?
It's been good. It really has. It's been really good. I was obviously nervous how that thing would go, how the transition would go. You never know. I've told so many people now, transitions are hard in any aspect, in any business, in anything you do in life. When you transition from one thing to another, it's going to be difficult. And so we've had our fair share of difficulties in the transition, but for the most part, it's been about as smooth as a transition can be. The community's been unbelievably receptive and open. The kids have been great. You couldn't ask for a better group of guys to be so open-minded and willing to give this entire new staff just undivided attention and buy-in. And they are doing an awesome job.
How difficult has it been for you to compartmentalize all the external and the pre and everything going on over here as you're coming into all of this?
Well, the good thing is it got me to practice what I preach. Us as high school football coaches, we want to talk about mental toughness and focus and discipline. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right, big man, what you gonna do now? And so we got hired, and that's basically all the messages I've gave to so many teams before now, and I wake up and look in the mirror and give to myself. And so you just can't let the noise distract you. You can't let the outside voices interfere with what you believe is true and what you believe is best for the program. And so we've had to practice the mental toughness, the discipline, the focus to not let outside distractions come in. So it's been good for me, and I told someone the other day, it's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me as far as challenging me to be a better man. Because again, it has made me understand and really focus on the most important things, because you don't have time to do everything and you don't want to try to change everything. So you're focusing on the most crucial, important things that are true for me and who I am. And the biggest thing is that you can't change who I am. All right, Coach was awesome before. He did an unbelievable job. It was, man, the success they had, but it's just like a good book. It was an unbelievable chapter in the history of the program there at Colquitt County and the football program that was unprecedented and amazing and something to be cherished and honored for years and years to come. But that chapter has been written, and that chapter is concluded. And so now a new chapter is being written and begin, and that's on us now to write that chapter. And so we've got to write it to the best of our ability on how we see fit.
Because you have your own set of core values. And knowing you from your time at Griffin, knowing you from your time at Jones, and knowing who you are as a guy and what you want to build, having to bring all of this with you. You mentioned staying true to yourself.
Yep.
And now there are certain aspects of it where you're staying true to yourself in something akin to a hornet's nest. And that's an interesting juxtaposition there.
No doubt. That's why I say I think it's one of the best things for me as a man to challenge myself to be who you are, because you are getting pulled and you get told this is the way we've done this is the way we've done that, this is how this was done before. And so some of the things we continue, but some of the things say, we're not going to do that way anymore. And again, you do it the way that you think is fit and how you treat people. But for the most part, I'm telling you, it's been a great transition. It really has. It's been really smooth, really open. Those boys have been through a lot. I mean, they went from losing a state title to having an off season full of ups and downs and unbelievable emotions that go with that. I mean, the loyalty that you have to your coach and things like that. And so when I came in on April the 16th, they were a group that were broken and ready to just play football for the Packers. Because at the end of the day, that's what they grew up their whole life wanting to do. They wanted to be a Packer, and they wanted to wear that uniform and go out and represent for their school and their community. That ain't changed. That still to this day hadn't changed. And so they were ready to move on and play football, and so they were really good and very receptive to the message we were given.
Has anything about Moultrie surprised you? I know that as a student of high school football and communities and things like that, you know what it means to Griffin. You know what it means to Gray. You know what it means to Greenville.
Yeah.
When you go to Moultrie, it's that same kind of deepness. Did anything surprise you?
Yeah, I've joked, me and my wife talked about it and a bunch of others. I've had to steal the SEC term. It just means more, and so you've kind of found that out. Everything means more at the meet and greets, just meeting the great people there. And, I've had season tickets from 58, and I've had the same season tickets from 72. It's just cool, having that rich tradition that they support, good and bad. There have been some lean years, and obviously the last 10 have been unbelievable. But I mean, just the season tickets and the support there is unbelievable. And so I've been at some tradition-rich places. I grew up in a very tradition-rich place in Greenville, and but yeah, this one takes it to a whole nother level, that's for sure. But that's what you want. You want to be involved in that. You want to be involved in a program with expectations and high expectations. Heck, I got high expectations of myself. So you want others to want the same thing.
When I mention Dajan, what comes to mind?
Oh my God, unbelievably talented. And I'll say this, very humble. He's a unbelievably talented and respected back in this state. And everybody knows him, but he is just as humble as you can be. He is a hard worker day in, day out, and very consistent in that work ethic. And that is something that's just unbelievably impressive. And wherever he decides to go, they're going to get a great running back, a great football player, and they're going to get a great guy in the locker room because he is a solid dude.
When you look at this schedule that you've parachuted into, Region 178 is a sprint.
Yeah.
Because of just the lack of teams. And it's one of those mini regions, basically, for lack of a better word. And you've had to have a team that is having to create a non-region schedule. And there's some wild birds in there to get you to region play. When you looked at that schedule, what went through your mind?
That's what went through my mind. We're extremely talented. We're a good football team. There ain't no doubt. We play a really talented and good football schedule, too, to go along with it. And so, when I first looked at it, it was daunting. But, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's the schedule you play because that's who you are. All right? When you're a really good football team, you're going to play really good football teams. And so I was telling them earlier, we've got 3 teams in the preseason top 100 in the nation on our schedule. And so when we do hit that sprint of Region 1, we will definitely be battle tested and understand. You just got to make sure you're injury free.
When you look at the game today as a high school football coach, what's your biggest concern? Because I know a lot of folks will sit there and say injuries or multi-sport or social media. As a coach, what's your biggest concern these days about the game?
Just the unfair attack that it gets sometimes and just in the news and social media, just the attack of it being such a violent or a game where you get hurt all the time when really statistics doesn't support that compared to other things. To me, it's still the number one greatest sport there ever is because it still teaches you how to trust others, how to rely on others. And it doesn't matter what the race is. It can be black, white, purple. It don't matter. It can be big guys, little guys, fat guys. It can be socioeconomic, rich guys, poor guys. Doesn't matter. It's can you help me and can I help you? And that's what makes the game great. But unfortunately, all you see is the negative of it. You see some guys that football players maybe in the pros that do things that they shouldn't do, and so it gets a negative on football players on how they are there. But I just hate the attack on the game because it's still the greatest game there is, and the values and lessons that young men learn from being part of football carry them so much further in life than the risk-reward of playing.
So then if you were King Justin, if you were king of football for a day, and you could change one thing, what would you change?
That's a strong one there, man.
That's why I asked it to you.
Yeah, that was good there.
Nothing like ending on a philosophical question.
That one's tough. What would I change?
I've had some coaches say nothing. The game's great the way it is. I've had coaches sit there and say the hash marks. I've had move-ins, as some folks talk about the move-in issue. I mean, literally, it has been across the board what folks would sit there, and some folks are...
I don't think I would change anything.
Seriously?
I don't think I would. And I wouldn't change anything in the summers either. Because, see, that's the one thing that I'm scared of that the state of Georgia might do is change some things in the summer. our summers are awesome. Just the way they allow us to go to OTAs, shoulder pad camps with other teams, being able to do those and to be able to work and build. And I think because of the way the GHSA allows us to do our summers is why the state is so good top to bottom. I mean, there is a lot of really good football programs in this state. A lot better than compared to states that surround us as far as the states around us have some really good programs, but top to bottom, from single A to 7A, there's some really good programs here. And I contribute that so much to the way they let us do the summer and the amount of work we're able to put in those 2 months. So I don't think I would change anything, and in fact, I'd hope nothing would change, especially in that area.
What about the number of A's? Are there too many A's right now? 7A, is that too many?
I don't think so. I really don't. You're a big state. I mean, there's a lot of schools there, and I don't think there's that many. I think it's about the right amount right now. Everything kind of works its way out. The one thing I would change, I just thought about this.
Here we go.
I do have one. I think you should get 15 days to get your 10 practices in the spring. Right now we're at 13 days. I think you should span it over 3 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be able to kind of spread that out. If we're talking about safety, I mean, that's going to be able to be a lot more safe than having to max it all in.